be talking about marketing, a necessary habit. I have evil here crossed out because so many of us think that marketing is just so much work. It's so taxing. It just takes so much time from us, from what we want to be doing, from writing, from reading. But it does help us in the long run. So we're going to be talking about strategies you can use to help make marketing strategic and not just a necessary evil. So that's what we're talking about here tonight. So a little bit about me. My author name is S. Faxon. We're going to be talking a bit more about branding here in just a bit. But my first name is Sarah, and I am the author of The Animal Court, Foreign and Domestic Affairs, Tiny Dreadfuls, my most recent release, Blue Dragon Society Origins, and I've co-authored a book called Lost Aboard. I've also worked on editing projects for my small company, No Bad Books Press, which I co-own with Teresa Halverson. I'm the creative director and cover designer with No Bad Books Press, which has just been so much fun. It's a fantastic opportunity and really great way to get to meet different authors as well. I'm a co-editor of the #1 bestseller release, which was a horror anthology. Super, super fun project to be a part of. And I am the host of Cheers Dears, which is an author interview podcast. And I'm also a co-host of Semi-Sages of the Pages, which is a really fun writing group. We actually have a Discord channel. You can find us if you want to hop in over the chat there. Super fun group. We have a really great contest going on right now about the race for rejections, which is a super cool thing. See, I'm also the former president of the San Diego Writers and Editors Guild, and I'm currently a member of various writing groups as well. So that's a little bit about me. Alrighty, and for our program here today, we're going to be doing a couple of different things. We're going to be defining what is marketing. What is that? What does it encompass? What doesn't it encompass? A little bit about branding, ways to help strategize what you're actually posting about or talking about, content for your posts and your marketing as well, the copy of your marketing, getting and staying organized on your marketing adventure, strategically using social media, and last but not least, certainly not least, how to measure your successes and your trials and your challenges as you go. Alrighty, so defining marketing. What is marketing? Well, marketing is a lot of things. It comes in a lot of shapes and sizes, various platforms, various medias, and mediums for that matter. And what it really boils down to is spreading the word about you and your product. Now, I put the heavy emphasis on you because when we're selling a product, whether it's toothpaste, a book, a fish, you really want people to fall in love with you and see who you are as a human being. What are your interests? What aren't your interests? And making that human to human connection. So even if you're on the completely other side of the planet, you might have a connection with somebody over there, and we establish those connections through marketing. And we do that very commonly on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, whatever it is. We do that a lot on the daily. So if you already have a social media account of some sort, you're already marketing yourself. Now, underneath marketing, or beside marketing rather, is also promotions and advertisements. And the Independent Book Publishers Association has a fantastic podcast. If you just look them up on any of your podcast platforms, they'll come right up. And they recently released an episode, fantastic episode, about the differences between marketing, promotions, and advertising. And it is absolutely worth a listen, super great. And what they talked about was there are these three camps basically. When you're marketing, you're spreading the word again about you, but they don't necessarily lead to direct sales. Marketing is great for showing you as a person and what you do, but it may not lead to those direct sales, as I just said, but it will or could down the road, but it's not that direct opportunity. Promotions and advertising, however, do lead or try to lead funnel you to sales. So those are a completely separate topic and one that deserves a full hour to themselves. But we're just going to be focusing on marketing because that's something we can do daily with these strategies that we're moving ahead with. All right, so how do you begin? Where do you begin in the whole wide world of marketing? The best thing to do is to start by asking yourself these questions. Seriously, whip out a notebook, take some time, have a nice cup of tea as you do this. It's kind of a fun exercise to get to know your foundations of your branding. Now, ask yourself, who are you? Who, at the end of the day, when you have your pajamas on, you're comfy, you're on your couch in your favorite spot, who are you? Are you watching Game of Thrones? Are you watching episodes of 24? What is your best self? What is your best life? How do you envision that? Where are you when you are happiest? And what are you doing? Write that down. Start there. Then ask yourself, who do I want to be seen as a writer? They can be very different things. I have quite a few friends who publish under pseudonyms, so their writing self is completely different from their at home on the couch self. So take a moment when you're ready, when you're comfortable answering these questions, and ask yourself, who is my writer self? Who do I want the world to see? If they're the same, fantastic. If they're different, fantastic. But just know that you're going to be using the writer self then to market yourself and your wares. Talk about in your writing as you're doing this exercise, where do you write? Where does your writer self feel most at home, feel most creative? Write that down. Is it that couch? Is it the cafe? Is it on the bus? Write that down. May seem kind of strange, but it'll come important in a bit. As you're writing this, start to think, do I have any writing routines that I need to help get me into the mood, into the zone, into my characters' worlds? What do you do? Do you light a candle? Do you need the ambiance to be such? Write all those points down. What do you write? That's the next question to ask. What's your genre? What are your themes? Are there specific things you want your readers to walk away with? Write all those points down. And this can be a beefy section, so take your time with this. This deserves some time because this is really, again, setting the foundation for all of your marketing moving forward. So, excuse me, within your genre, your theme that you're writing, what do readers of your genres and themes like? Do they tend to be all about going to play live action gameplay? Are they video gamers? Are they mall shoppers? What do you envision as, who do you envision as your ideal reader? What do they do? What's their income level? Whatever it is, make your ideal reader and write that down. Ideal reader in terms of who's reading your genre. What do you like? What are your specific tastes within this genre that you are writing? Do you like these tropes, these stereotypes that happen within? Are you really not a fan of your tropes that happen within your genres? Are you going to try to break those? Write that out. Your characters, what are their tastes? Do they like Starbucks or are they like, no, I only do my independent bougie coffee place down the street? Write their personalities out. And again, I know this sounds really time consuming, but I see Maya in the chat is wondering who her or his ideal reader is. And it's just a really interesting exercise to sit down and think, who are these people who would be reading my stories? And as you go along, of course, also make sure you talk about what your characters don't like as well. And by the end of this exercise, you may have pages and pages and pages written out, which is excellent because these are the seeds you're going to use to strategize your marketing and everything you can post. Now, I have a little bullet point tip post-it note here that says, write 3 main bullet points that represent your brand on a sticky note. Just have one stuck to your computer, to your laptop, in your notebook, wherever it is where you'll see it regularly, and make those 3 points your main brand focus. So, what does that mean? Well, To give you an example, here are some of my actual branding images. And I know a lot of us, when we think of brand, we think of like a thing, right? Like a Louis Vuitton symbol or the Coca-Cola symbol. These are all brands where you immediately know what they look like. So that is a part of branding, but it's just a part. A vibe can be a brand, right? Some of those points we talked about can be branding. Those 3 bullet points you write on that sticky note, that's your brand. So these are the visual representations of the various um, companies, of the various things that I'm a part of. So we have the big red stamp with the S and the F in it. That is my personal brand. It is a seal, and I actually had a seal embosser made based on that, which is really fun. Because I'm a fantasy author, so I like sort of the more old-timey look, and I also like the really classic red wax seal. So a part of my branding is that I'm a fantasy author and I tend to write with a Victorian writing style. So having a wax seal embosser seems like the perfect part of a visual representation of my brand because it connects so well with my genre and my personality. So that's something to be thinking about too. What can I use? What kind of image can I create to represent my brand, my writing? So I also write in cursive too. So that was another thing I wanted to capture in that. Um, well, it's like quasi cursive. So anyway, just to the side of it is my small presses, No Bad Books presses, stamp, our seal, our emboss, our logo, excuse me. And this has been something that's evolved over time, but my business partner and I are very big on the writing with a quill. We think that's a very classy look. And when you look at that, you know you're probably looking at fiction writing and something with a little bit more flair. We specialize in speculative fiction, so we're all about the what ifs, and we just thought it was really fitting. Now, we also included gold in that because we want to believe we believe that we are helping to raise the bar. We have a gold standard of books that we put out there. So we are No Bad Books, and we want people to know that we have a golden standard. So that's a little bit about that. Cheers Dears is my podcast where I interview authors about their favorite beverage while they write. And it's just a fun podcast. Usually, my guests and I may be enjoying adult beverages as we go. So, part of my branding as well has sort of become this congeniality over beverages. And so, I incorporated both my traditional writing branding in that. And then I took elements of the gold from No Bad Books Press and put that as the backdrop for this. Likewise, for the semi-stages of the pages, we have those reds in there. It's a nice handwriting look to it. And that's for my other podcast that I'm a part of and one of the co-hosts of. Now, I'm not just saying this to boast. The reason I'm bringing all of this up is that they all kind of have a complementary look about them. And as we've been evolving these brands, that was something that was in the back of my mind the entire time. That even though these are 4 fairly separate different entities, they're all related, they all connect, they all come back to represent us, all of us authors who are involved in this, 4 of us. And these are all parts of our branding. These are parts of our messaging that we can put out there and to build from. So you've learned a lot about me just now with just these 4 images. And think about that as you're strategizing and as you're thinking, okay, what kind of image, if I want that a part of it, doesn't have to be a part of your branding. But if you want that to be a part of your branding, what can you do to symbolize all the books you write, to symbolize you, if you want separate things, and to also know that you can have separate things. That's a part of being creative, right? We can change, we can adapt, and we can have so many different beautiful things representing us as we go along. Excuse me. Alrighty, so we have now come to the content tree. So your branding is the seed. That wonderful exercise that we did with all those different questions, those are going to be the seeds for your marketing. They're going to be your roots that keep you humble and keep you grounded and keep you feeling like, okay, I got this. Because once you go through that exercise, I promise you're going to find generating the content or the copy, the actual words that go on into your marketing they're just going to grow, just like this beautiful tree here, this beautiful tree image. So what is copy? What does that mean? Copy means the actual words that you use. So there's an image, usually if you use an Instagram post, that's an image, but the copy is the words. So the text you are putting out there, not necessarily the hashtags, but that's kind of a part of it, the message you are putting out. So if you're writing a newsletter, if you're writing a guest blog, if you're writing a blog, if you are drafting some interview that you're going to do later, that's all a part of the content that you're putting together that can stem from your branding. So, example, I am a fantasy author. I do just starting to get into urban fantasy, have quite a few stories lined up and have published quite a few stories out of the same world that's different but similar to ours. And so I've done a lot of research into world building. That is totally a part of my branding and something that I talk about. I have terrariums and aquariums, and I use that world building vibe and I incorporate it with the plants that surround me and use those as launching points of marketing. I can talk about how I think about world building as I'm building my terrariums and know that they need a strong foundation and that they need this, that, and the other thing. So I can go to very niche podcasts and be like, "Hey, I know a thing or two about this and I happen to be an author. Haha." And when you make those connections, even if they seem really obscure, you're going to find other people out there, other niches, other groups, whatever, where that's going to be super appealing. So world building is a general topic, right? That's a huge topic. But if you can narrow it down to something like this relates to my terrarium that sits on my desk in whatever way, that's going to stand out. And you're going to have, again, that content already right there and from that foundation. So go and look at it. Go with a fine-tooth comb, highlight things as you go, and just see like, yeah, I could write an article about that. Find those things that you can write an article about. It doesn't have to be, a 35 page, 30,000 word essay. Do something 1,000 word or so. Make 3 to 5 of them. Just look through that foundation packet that you've just built and write 3 to 5 essays. You can then go and crop them, you can make them longer, but you'll now have foundations for blogs, foundations for articles, foundations for interviews to talk about. And you're going to be a quote unquote expert on that topic. So these are just things to start thinking about. And if your story is a contemporary story and it's talking about some political thing that's happening, that's an excellent thing to market about. How does that relate to the real world? How is that relating to the current situation happening wherever you are living or somewhere else? There's an article, there's an interview, there's a social media post. If you are writing about dragons, you could do something about, hey, in Norse mythology, did they actually exist? And go find a Norse mythology group and be like, hey, I would love to talk about this. Might I do a guest blog for you? Break down your stories, break down your interests, and do a little bit of research. It really doesn't take long to put one of these little media packets together, and it's really going to help you in the long run to have, again, a nice branching point to just generate your marketing content like crazy. So now you have all this stuff. You have a journal full of notes on who you are, who your ideal reader is, who your characters are, and all of their likes and tastes. You've got 3 to 5 essays on terrariums and dragons and all sorts of really fun, cool things. So what do you do with it? You make, Candace, you're right there. You make a media packet. Exactly. And you keep it in one place. I highly recommend using Google Drive. It is fantastic. It's accessible on your phone, it's accessible on your computer. It's just a super handy thing. Now, I handwrite all my drafts of everything. I have journals for days surrounding me, but I think that's a really good part of my creative process is to handwrite something out and then type it up and organize as I go. And when you use something like Google Drive, you can make headings and you can connect different pieces so you can jump around to them really easily and create that media packet. So you can organize it by my Who Am I section, make bullet points in there, keep it organized, but make it so that it works for you. What works for me may not work for everybody. I guarantee it doesn't work for everybody. Find an organizational pattern that works for you. And I'm laughing about the chat. So find what works for you. And I highly recommend Google as a tool to use just a Google Files, their word processing document, and set it up with headings to keep it organized, and you should be all good. So I see in the chat here, Rue asks, does an outdated, unorganized folder called branding count? Reasons I'm in this panel. Absolutely. You're off to a great start. So you've got a really great start there because you've started. And, I know a lot of us have dusty folders. Trust me, I have those as well, but it's there. You've made an effort towards it. So just dust it off and get right back into it. And I see Candace recommended a link here, which I will go check out. That's a great suggestion. Candace says video games use this link a lot, usually called a press kit. Yes, press kit, media kit. Same vein. Have that ready to go so that you can jump on any opportunity to do presentation, to do whatever, because you'll have it done. It's already done. So the screen here I have was just a very basic Canva. I'm going to write that down in the chat because it's super cool if you are not familiar with it. Canva has a free branch of its program, and it's a editing program. And this entire presentation I generated in Canva, I am not paid by them. I love to be, but I do not represent them in any way, but it's a fantastic way that I have found to stay organized. So this is one of the organizational presentations that they have. And I'm going to show you later on what I use from them as well. But just to show you the many, many different ways that you can start to organize these thoughts, always carry a notebook on you. Always carry something that you can write down these ideas of like, oh my God, that'd be a great marketing idea. Because you got to start thinking out of the box. But one thing I hear a lot, and I feel a lot as well, is that marketing can be so overwhelming. Oh my God, it's so scary. There's so many things you have to do. But if you just keep it organized in a way that matters, or excuse me, in a way that makes sense to you, you've got this. So these are just some examples that you can do. You can have a little to-do list, little reminder list, little notes. Always have your goals in mind. Keep that sticky note handy of who am I? What is my branding? Yeah, Canva is the best for these sorts of things. They have, again, free thing where you can do it, and is very accessible, very easy to use. And um, this is another thing that's super easy to do. I mean, you could literally just print up a Google something that says weekly planner and just something as basic as this, where you can say, Monday, I'm gonna write that first article on, you know, doctors in cities, whatever it is that relates to your branding. Okay, Monday, done. On Monday morning, I'm going to post about how I am writing this article on this thing using these hashtags that are similar to it. And keep a hashtag bank along with those articles. So to generate hashtags, you can do research to see what's trending in this category right now. On this topic, what are people looking up? Go through your articles, find keywords so that if people are Googling your article, it'll pop up. Take those hashtags and incorporate them smoothly as a normal part of your article. By doing this, you are increasing the SEO, the search engine optimization of your article. So when people are looking up how to build a terrarium, you are right there because you've got all those words interlaced within your article. Yes, branding, sacred hashtags that are always you. That is fantastic. Definitely make your hashtags that are you. I have Blue Dragon Society as one of mine. I've used as Faxon. Use your name as a hashtag. That is a very simple, easy way to start branding yourself. So here's another thing you can do, just use a basic calendar. It can be this simple. One thing a day. Just make one thing a day. If you can generate some kind of article or do research. Write a little bit too, though. To even just doing something towards creating a strategic marketing goal and strategic marketing plan, you're going to be feeling so much more accomplished if you just do one thing a day strategically. Scrolling endlessly does not count. It is not the same. But making those efforts to do those research, to write down those hashtags, to correlate those hashtags with your articles and your brands, you're going to be in great shape. And again, yearly planner, you can do goals throughout this. So another great thing that you can do. Something that I've been doing that I'm really liking is I generated this sheet on Canva. I just looked up posting planner. Yeah, posting planner, and it came right up. I personalized it a little bit. I added scheduled on the blue column so that I could say, yes, I scheduled this in Canva, or yes, I scheduled this on Facebook. I'm not sure if the scheduling on Canva is a part of the free option, but it it is a very handy thing. But you can use Facebook to schedule out your posts on your author pages or on any of your pages, not your personal page, but on your specific business page. You can schedule out months in advance various posts, which is very, very handy if you're someone like me who has an insane life and has a really hard time just sitting down and remembering to post every single day. So if you can schedule something in advance, awesome. Check that little scheduled box so you know Monday's done, Tuesday's done, Wednesday's done, whatever it is. So it's off your mind so you can write and do those things that you're here to do, here to learn about and give yourself more time to do. So I literally have a stack of these on my desk. I print a bunch of them. I go through on Sunday nights, and I just go to town, planning this, scheduling them out. Um, do I always do it? No, but it's nice to have. And again, these are just ways to help find your strategies, right? This works for me. It may be way too basic for you, maybe way too complicated for you. Whatever it is, I'm trying to give you just ideas to make it your own and to make it personal, and most importantly, to make it fun, because this is a lot of work. And if it starts to become a drag, reset your sails, make it fun again. See what's working that is fun, see what's not working that is fun, because that's important too. Because if you're not rewarding yourself for doing a good job, stop, take a step back, and remember that it is okay to scroll because scrolling is fun. Indeed, Vanessa in the chat. And that's okay. It's okay to scroll. Just don't get lost scrolling. That's the thing. I mean, I'm afraid to open Pinterest because it is a black hole for me. But just recognize that. Give yourself an hour to do that. But if you're posting, just make sure it's strategic. It doesn't always have to be strategic. I posted about a margarita icicle pop I had yesterday. Just have fun with it. All right. So, strategic social media. Yes, it was yummy, Shania. It was delicious. It was 100 degrees here yesterday, so it was very much needed. So, strategically using your social media. Age-old rule, 80-20. So, what does that mean? 80% of the time you are posting something fun, something like the margarita popsicle, and the 20% is, hey, buy my book, and hey, here's a promotion for my book. So this is where that conversation in the beginning, the marketing versus promotions versus advertising, comes in handy. So based on that definition, 80% is marketing, 20% is ads promotions. So if you start to think of it like that, it kind of makes the breakdown a little easier, right? 80% of the strategic social media usage of that margarita, for me, that's still a part of my branding, right? That is still a part of something that connects to people being like, you know what? Sarah really likes to have fun with people, likes to be a part of the community, loves hosting happy hours, loves hosting these social groups. This is still a part of her marketing. Do they consciously have this conversation with themselves? No. But it's still a part of the background, right? I have created for myself a framework of what I share on social media because it's my writing world, right? If I have something that happens at my niece's, birthday party, I may not necessarily post that on Facebook. I probably would, but just to say, just to say, create a boundary of your branding if you want. Again, it's up to you and it's up to your branding. You can be as guarded as you want, you can be as open as you want. It's just going to be a part of you in that post-it note that you put together with your 3 bullet points. So that's a little bit of the 80-20 rule. 80% your marketing, selling you, selling who you are. That sounds terrible, selling who you are. Selling the message behind yourself, spreading the word about who you are and what are your passions, what are your fun, what is your fun, what do you enjoy doing? That's the 80%. That 20% is, hey, I have a 99-cent deal going on Amazon right now. Head on over. Here's the link. How about that? I have demons fighting in this story. People are making decisions to trade their souls in exchange for safety. What would you do? That's the 20%. So those are the ads, those are the promos. Engagement. So you're sitting there and you're like, Sarah, what if there's that day where I just can't, and all I have in me is just the ability to interact with other people? That's fantastic. Oh my God. Engagement is so important. And I don't mean just the little thumbs up, smiley face, care emojis. This is where you actually go in and comment. Even if it's the auto Facebook generation of, wow, that's fantastic. Whatever they do these days, interact by commenting on people's posts. This shows that you are an actual human being and you're not just the mindless scrolling machine, which we've all been. Um, you are making a conscious effort to engage with somebody, and that's going to mean something to them, which is that human connection. So that when they do see your book in Barnes and Noble, they'll be like, oh my God, I know that person. They commented on my Pomeranian's little outfit that one time. And just be true to your brand. If your brand is to be that person who comments on all the dog photos, be that person. As long as it relates to your brand, you are golden. And of course, you can post like a regular human being. Don't just be locked to what I'm saying here. Find what works for you, set your framework, set your boundaries, and just stay to what you define for you. And as I was saying earlier, set awards for yourself. If this is a lot of work, it is a lot of work. So if you have just made your whole social media calendar for a day, for a week, for a month, whatever it is, do something for yourself because it is so hard. Writing is hard, marketing is harder. This is the side that we really tend to not want to do in this way. So give yourself an award for going through this. My business partner and I know somebody who puts $1 in a jar for every time he accomplishes something that's tough, swallowing the frog, so to speak, doing that thing you don't want to do. Do something for yourself that tells you I did a good job because you are. So I see in the chat, one way to figure out your brand may be to look back at what you have been doing in terms of posting and engaging, what you enjoy doing, maybe some clues there. Absolutely. Fantastic point. That is a great way to do it. If you're like, you know what, I don't really know what I like. What have you posted on before? What did you give those thumbs up to? How have you been excited on social media? Those are things to absolutely look at. That is fantastic advice there. And I think it's more of a question, but yes, I'm 100% with that. So as you're going through, find groups and hashtags with similar interests. So Facebook has, I don't even know how many groups. I mean, it is insane how many niche groups there are out there, but they are fantastic. I'm involved in all sorts of fantasy writing groups. I'm a part of the Horror Writing Association. In fact, San Diego, where I am, has this super active Horror Writing Association chapter. And just this evening, I put out a question to them, asking them to help me name my next book. And they immediately responded. And so that's something you can do within your marketing as well. That's strategic, is to ask questions. Ask those questions. relating to your book, not relating to your book, or your stories, whatever it is. Hey, what notebook is everybody using? That's a very personal question, and you are going to open up Pandora's box if you ask people what kind of notebooks they enjoy writing in, because it's so different to every single one of us. But so find a group with a similar interest and join the group. Now, those are two different things there, right? Because I belong to a ton of groups, but I haven't joined them. And what do I mean by that? Goes back up to that second bullet point there. Engage with that group. Don't just be a silent partner in there. Talk to people, engage with them, engage with their posts, ask questions, post things, but stay within the rules. There's a cajillion stars following that because there's no better way to get banned off something than to stop following the rules or to ignore the rules. Rules and groups exist for a very good reason, so I highly recommend reading those and then strategically posting within the boundaries of their rules. So, what do I mean by that? A lot of the groups that I'm a part of don't let us spam the page with our books. That's fine. I'm totally cool with that. Most of the time, they'll also have like a, hey, it's Saturday afternoon, authors, now is the time to drop your book covers. Go to town when they do that. But you just want to ensure that you follow those rules. Ask questions, engage again with other people's posts. Those two things go so far. Ask people about them, about their selves. Find out their branding, what's a part of their world. People love to talk about themselves, even though when doing this, it's really freaking hard. It's so hard to market yourself. And so that's why I brought in those questions too about your ideal reader, about what your character is like, because it's a lot easier to talk about others than it is about ourselves when we're doing this. So that's a little bit there. How are we doing, everybody in the chat? Anybody have any questions? I'll try to figure out how we go. Okay. Maya's having a good time. So some helpful tricks for managing social media, because again, it can be pretty tough, right? So as I mentioned earlier, scheduling in advance is so nice. Facebook has made it very easy now to do exactly that. You can schedule it out. Weeks, as I mentioned in advance, super easy to do. You can also have it linked up with Instagram because they are now the metaverse. So if you're not really interested in Canva, but you want to do just Facebook, Instagram, they've got the tools for that. So that's really nice. Likewise, Instagram now cross posts to Facebook pages and to, it's not Reels. I can't think of it for right now. It's after 11 o'clock at night for me, but it's all good. So yeah, schedule in advance. It makes your life a lot easier. Engage. Talk to people, ask questions, answer questions. Even if you're not sure, say, you know what? I'm not sure, but that's a great question. And then that shows the person asking it, you know what? Other people are looking into this as well. If you're like, you know what, I don't even have that in me, just repost. Just hit that share, save to somebody, or send a page, done. Share it to your reels, share it to whatever. That is going to make somebody feel really good to see that you shared their post. And again, that is going to reflect very well on you as a person and make that human connection, which is so important. So yeah, reposting and sharing, very good tactics. Live streaming. Now that the world is opening back up once again, we're out in the world, we can start really engaging posts like that. I once did an entire presentation on live streaming and how we can use that and how awesome it is to see people in the wild or at their desk or doing something. We are obsessed with seeing what other people are doing, which is why reality TV is so successful. So next time you're taking your dog for a walk or you're on your way to your favorite cafe or you're at your favorite cafe, just do a little live stream. There's no judgment. Okay, it's the internet. There's a ton of judgment. But, it doesn't have to be a Hollywood production. Just do it casual, talk from the heart. If you're not sure what to talk about, just look around you. What's happening? Describe what's happening. You are a writer, you are authors. This is what we do. Tell a story as you live stream. Read a story as you live stream. Read a book, read a page from your book. There's so many things you can do from live streaming. Find authors on social media that you really enjoy. Find the big ones that you like following. See what they do in their live streams or in the videos that they've recorded to get some ideas. Filters. So TikTok has fantastic, amazing filters. I mentioned earlier one of my friends who has a pseudonym, writes under a pseudonym, and she doesn't want her face to be seen, but she is all over TikTok and she uses filters. So if you're like, I have this great idea, but I don't want to put makeup on, or I don't really want my colleagues to know that this is my thing, use the filters. It's amazing, creepy, but amazing how good the filters are at kind of concealing our identity these days. It's so creepy, but it's a lot of fun. And that's the whole thing. Keep it fun for you. Make sure you're having a good time as you're doing it. Because again, this can get a little tedious at times, but just keep it light, keep it bright, keep it fun for you. So we've got here some excellent questions from Candace. How do I get over that hump of not wanting to talk about myself? I hear you so hard because I am very good at helping people develop better marketing strategies, but I also very much struggle to talk about myself. And it's one of those things where I'd recommend starting with your book. Start with your characters because they're honestly extensions of you. And they are byproducts because every single one of our byproducts, they're a part of us. Even our villains, even our darkest villains have a part of us in them. And so start talking about them. Villain Anton really liked wine prior to becoming a vampire. Something like that. You can start off, and I really liked wine while I was writing this. Branch it like that. So it's kind of a hybrid, right, of talking about your book, but you're not saying, hey, buy my book. It's, hey, this character likes this thing, and I also like this thing. And that's kind of a way to start flexing your muscles of talking about yourself. It's hard. It is so hard to do, but find a way that works. So if you don't really like being on video, take photos of yourself. If you don't really like taking photos of yourself, take photos of your hands. Show that you are a human being behind the mask of the social media. And that's something to work to. I don't really like taking photos of myself just because I think it's annoying. But it's something I'm trying to do because people will stop if they see a face, or they're more likely to stop and read a post if they see a face. Um, so, yeah, start by branching off from your characters. Start by branching off on the things you love to do. So, um, another good example would be I really like flowers. This is my favorite flower. What's yours? Little things like that, to start small and build from there. It's tough. It is so tough, but trust me, just build small, have your media packet ready to go, and you're going to find it easier and easier as you go along. It's like anything else, it just takes practice. But yeah, it is icky. That is the right word. All right. So as you're doing this, you want to keep your goals in mind. You want to aim for those goals with every post that, well, not every post, with the majority of the posts that you're putting out there, the majority of the articles that you're putting out there. Make sure they align with your goals. So what are your goals? As you're writing that packet in the very beginning, be thinking about where you want to see your writing in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10. What do you want to be? Do you want to try to be a New York Times bestseller? Do you just really want to see it in your local library? Write down those goals. I think it's really important to put that out there into the universe. We carry them in our heart, but write those goals down and keep them in that packet. You don't have to publish that by any stretch. This is very personal to you. But as you're posting, as you're interacting, as you're engaging with groups, having your goals written out is something you can just kind of flip into and see, am I still aligned with these? And if not, you can then adjust your sales. So writing out your goals helps you to see Is this serving my goal? Is me looking at cupcake recipes on Pinterest really serving my goal? And then you can set times for yourself. Like these are arbitrary, then just kind of made up 15 minutes for me to just look up cupcake recipes. I know it's not aligned with my goal, but in giving myself this timer, this is my reward for meeting these tactics to get towards my goals. So it's just another framework, right? A way to keep yourself focused, to keep yourself centered. And when you can start checking those goals off, my God, how great is that going to feel? And you'll know that you're reaching these goals because your immediate efforts are getting you there. But how do we keep track of all that? Measuring it. So, measuring your success. Now, it is so easy to fall into the immediate gratification of, I got 20 likes, yes, but no comments, nobody bought my book. That's going to be a big part of marketing, right? Is that it doesn't necessarily lead to direct sales. It will down the road, as long as you're consistent and you make sure you're staying within your branding and lining up to your goals. But that's more the ads and promotional sides of things. So, how do we measure this? If likes are kind of fake happiness, what is it? What are we looking for? When you're doing your social media calendars or you do whatever it is to help keep track of everything, well, in my column, on my sheet, I have a whole engagement column. And I'm tracking, okay, there were this many comments, okay, there were this many questions. It seems neurotic and insane because it kind of is. But it helps to narrow down, you know what, that post about fish really wasn't so good. However, my post about roses was, whatever it is, so that you can target and see, you know what, my audience really did like that rose post. I'm going to keep talking about roses, about flowers, whatever it is, and grow from there. Check back in with that fish post a few weeks later. Maybe you just didn't get the right fish people. But in doing that, in measuring your responses, and again, not just the likes and comments, because we all mindlessly scroll and like and everything, measuring your successes, measuring your not successes will help you to kind of target what post to do in the future so that it's a little bit easier. Now, if your thing is fish, keep posting about fish and just find other groups to post in. What you want to do, the whole point of the measuring your engagement on social media is, and on blogs and in podcasts and everything, you are trying to help streamline your process to ensure that it aligns with your goals in the most time efficient way possible so that again, you can write because that's what we're here for. I mean, not specifically here. So, to review, you're going to set your goals, you're going to make your plan, you're going to go through that amazing exercise of finding out who you are, who's your writer self, who are your readers. You're going to get to work, you're going to get all that done, and you're going to stay with it. That's the biggest thing that's so hard is, we set out all this foundation and then we're like, oh, but life is lifing me really hard. I've been there. We've all been there. It is something that happens and it's going to happen, but stay with it. That's why it's so important to try to get some kind of scheduling situated. That's why I take out Sunday nights to just do it. And by Sunday night, I mean like an hour. Honestly, I don't want to spend more than an hour planning out a week's worth of social media. If I'm taking more than that, I kind of sit back and be like, I'm being crazy about this. So, it's going to be unique to you how long it takes, but having posts scheduled really does save you in the long time because that helps you to stick with it. And you're going to reach those goals. As long as you're staying with it, you are going to reach your goals because you are passionate about this. You're passionate about your books and you want the world to know about them. Just why we market, right? To get our books, our stories into the hands of all those readers out there, which makes us very Zen happy authors, right? And that is all from me. And thank you. I am so happy you guys were here with me tonight, or everybody was here with me tonight. I am going to put my publishing website, press.com, in the chat there, and we have a ton of different resources for authors. We're constantly putting up new content. I'd also recommend following us on Facebook, No Bad Books Press, because we have a marketing group that we do regularly every single month. And we also have a new author event happening every other month. And we're going to be doing that on this Tuesday. So we'd love to get to meet you all in person via Zoom and answer whatever questions you may have. We just love helping other authors, and we've been through a lot as authors ourselves, so we just want to share our knowledge with you all and learn as well. So if anybody has any questions, again, thank you all so much for being with me tonight. This was so much fun. I'm glad to know that I can give a presentation in the middle of the night. Oh, thank you all. Yeah, you're so welcome for the resources and strategies. Yeah, absolutely. But it really just boils down to finding what works for you. But yeah, that media packet is so helpful. I have it handy and revisit it. You know, check in with it every couple of months and make sure it's all still aligning with everything. Oh, you guys are so welcome. Thank you so much. And then again, our social on for the semi-stages of the pages, which is our writing podcast. We have a very active Discord channel. Writing that on the chat too. And we just love helping fellow authors as well there too. And so, yeah, guys, thank you so much. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the flights. Yes, I will put links in Discord. Toast. Thank you for that. I'll put those in right now. Toast. Okay, the link is going right in. Toast my the pages. For the what names on Discord who said doing my best at this very late hour to take notes. The three, I love it. That's awesome. Alrighty, guys. Thank you all again so much, and I will see you all in Discord. Thank you, Shania.